Hi, I'm Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about 10 tips for creating the most epic solo writing retreat. I just went on one and I shared my experiences in the past videos, but today I'm going to condense everything down to specific tips to help you. So let's get started. All right, our first tip is to set goals. This may seem obvious, but when you head on a writing retreat, whether you're by yourself or with others, the idea to have goals set in place beforehand is huge. In my writing retreat, I made sure that I had specific daily word count goals, though yours could be pages or time limits or whatever that looks like for you. But make sure that you have clear set out goals in place before you head on your retreat. Secondly, I think you should tell people that you're going. Now, you may not want to share your specific location, that's totally fine, but letting people know who are around you or maybe in your writers group or whatever that looks like, telling them that you are going away on a specific writing retreat is really great, and for one reason. Peer pressure. If you're out there and you know people know you are supposed to be writing, more than likely you're going to write. The third thing I think you should do is plan your attack. So this is different than setting goals because it's going to look different for every different day. Now, if you have an entire week, you might have the luxury of kind of spreading out those goals. But if you're only gone for a few days, I definitely suggest that you kind of have a plan in mind. As you'll see in the vlogs that I did for my personal solo writing retreat, I specifically had a slower morning and then wrote until lunchtime and then took a break where I got out, I got some fresh air and did some stuff, and then came back to writing because I knew I just couldn't sit there for the entire day. And number 4, kind of following that, is plan in rest breaks. You're not a machine. You can't create 24/7. And I know the pressure of being there on your own as you are writing and trying to get your story out is going to make you want to work harder than maybe you should. So make sure that you get up, stretch, grab some snacks, take a hike. That's definitely what I did, just to get out of your head for just a little bit and then come back to your writing with fresh eyes. Now, number 5, it might seem obvious, but make everything really simple. And I'm talking about the things that are not writing. So your meals, your snack times, where you're going, how you're going to get there, just make it all really easy. I think for me, one of the best things that I did before I left was to plan every single meal. And I also got more snacks than I probably needed because your girl needs chocolate when she's writing. But anyways, I definitely made sure that I knew every night what I was going to make because that's one less thing I have to think about. If there's restaurants nearby where you're doing your retreat, that makes it simple, but maybe even write that in your own little schedule of go out to eat, go to this restaurant or whatever. Just take all the other decisions off your plate. Number 6, I kind of already touched on, but get out and do something that's not writing. So exercise, whether that's walking, running, stretching, whatever you want to do. Make sure that you also are engaging your body because sitting there, for me, on a bed in postcard cabins meant that I was just literally sitting in not the best position for hours at a time. So to me, I like to put in a break in the middle of the day or at least early afternoon, get out of the house or the cabin and go work out, take a hike, whatever that looks like, take a walk, let your mind just kind of breathe. Number 7, I cannot stress this enough. Have a notebook, not your phone, just a paper notebook sitting next to you so that you can write down everything that comes to mind. Because guaranteed you are going to have moments where you're like, oh, I need to do this thing, or oh, I said I would send this person this thing, or whatever. Those things, those intrusive thoughts are going to come in and they're going to want to steal your attention. Now for me, where I went, I still had cell phone reception. I didn't have Wi-Fi, but I could still check emails, I could get text messages. And so it was really crucial for me to not have that be a distraction and instead have just this nice little notebook where I could put down things to remind myself to do later. Number 8, might be controversial for you if you are not a plotter, but I highly suggest that you go into a writing retreat plotted. Or if you're like, oh, the sound of a plot sounds horrible to me and stifling, go in with an idea at least. Don't just think that you'll suddenly be struck by inspiration just because you're on a writing retreat. Hate to break it to you, but that's not how it works. For me, I unfortunately did not come in with a full plot, which would have probably meant I did better than I actually did, which, hey, 40,000 words in 4 days is not bad. So I'm not saying that that totally hindered my productivity, but I will say that I spent extra time plotting out what I was going to write next when I could have actually been spending that time writing. Number 9 is pretty simple, but just eliminate all distractions. So for me, the biggest distraction was my phone. I had to lock it. I use an app called the Forest app. I'll put a link down below so that you guys can take a look at it. I think it's gone up in price since I purchased it. I want to say it's like maybe $3.99. I got it at $1.99, but honestly, I feel like it's worth it. To me, it locks your phone, but you can also set a list of allowable contacts, allowable apps. So I usually set it to eliminate all social media, and most everything else that might distract me, but I leave, unfortunately, my text messages open, but that was just a necessity, especially during a work week. But then also things like phone calls, using my camera app, so I can still go on a hike, have my phone locked, but be able to take pictures, just to make sure that those distractions are gone. That might also mean that you download your playlist before you leave in case you don't have Wi-Fi. Maybe you turn off your Wi-Fi so you're not tempted to go and search for something else online and get in those rabbit holes. Don't go there. And then number 10 is a personal choice on my part. So you may not agree with me, but I say don't edit while you're at a solo writing retreat. Now, the reason for this is twofold. On one hand, I see my drafting time as my drafting time. I am going to just write as much as I possibly can. And if I'm thinking about making my words better or going back to fix something or whatever, I tend to get distracted and then I want to make everything better and I'm not making forward progress. But secondly, I see a writing retreat as a time to get words on the page. And I think you're going to actually undo some of your progress or potential progress by really just like double checking everything that you do. It's similar to what I just said. So see this time as a focus time between you and your manuscript. It's time to get those words on the page. If you come to areas where you don't know what's going to happen next, write that in. I don't know what's going to happen next, and jump to the next spot where you do know what's going to happen. So spend that time with your drafting. Let your imagination flow. Write stuff that you're like, I might need to change this later, because I've noticed for my own self when I write and I go back and I have written something that I'm like, I'm probably going to take this out later. More often than not, it fits in better than I would have thought. So trust yourself in that drafting process. So those were the 10 tips that I have for you to make your own epic solo writing retreat. Which one did you find most helpful? Comment below and let me know. And let me know if you're going to take your own solo writing retreat. I can highly recommend Postcard Cabins, and I will be having a video coming out soon where I detail all the awesome things that come with just being in a small cabin like that, but then also my tips for stuff that you might want to bring with you that you wouldn't think to need, but you're going to want to have. So, as I like to say, go boldly and write. Thanks so much for coming back to my channel. I am so excited to restart this channel. I began years ago. You can still see some of my really old, very cringy videos up here still. I'll probably disable them eventually, but it's definitely been something that's been on my heart to do, and I'm finally doing it. So if you don't know me, I will be posting a About Me video soon. But just know that I write under the pen name E.A. Hendricks and several other pen names. I've published 14 books, and I have done a couple of books on Kickstarter. Got a Kickstarter coming next month, which is really exciting. But you can expect to see videos here from me about ghostwriting, writing in general, plotting, reading books. I don't know, anything that you can think of. I'm probably going to plan a video on it. And if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see, just drop them down below, or feel free to send me a direct message on Instagram. I go by the handle Create, Explore, Read all together, and I just love interacting over there. So if you haven't, come follow me. And lastly, if you would subscribe to my channel, it would mean the world to me. My husband actually is the one who's editing all these videos for me. He is learning how to do this, and he's doing such an excellent job. So make sure that you give him a little shout out in the comments below. That's not a number. What's the second thing? Could be page. Dying. But Let's cut that. What do I say? I don't know how to end it.